Welcome, Council. Thank you, members of the public, for your patience with us. We had to restart our session, so if you're watching us online, this is part 2 of our special council meeting for Tuesday, May the 5th, 2026. And we're on item 8, arising from a closed session. So, Council, I have a motion that reads that Council of the Town of Penetanguishene rise from an in-camera session with a report. I'm going to look for a mover for that, please. Moved by Councillor Waters, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. And just for clarity for everyone, so we moved into closed session. Council had an opportunity to ask questions and clarifying questions. And our decisions that were made regarding that closed session was strictly related to finances. And it's contingent upon council's decision that we'll make an open session, which is the next section. Okay, so whatever decisions we've made, it'll be contingent upon what will occur at the next part of the meeting. All right, Council, the next item on the agenda is a report from an in-camera meeting held. I have a motion that reads that the directions provided to staff during the closed session of council held on May 5th, 2026, contingent on the decision made in open session respecting water and wastewater operational review, but permitted to be discussed in closed session under Section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 be approved, and that staff be authorized to proceed with the implementation of those directions and approvals as applicable in accordance with council's instructions. I'm going to look for a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Waters, seconded by Councillor Vatabankar. I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? And that is carried. The next item on the agenda, Council, is 10 matters for consideration. So for members of the public, I just read the closed item and I said it's going to be contingent upon what we discuss in open session. So we're now back in open session. And this will be the opportunity for council to debate this and further ask further clarifying comments and questions. Council, I just want to remind you that anything we just discussed in closed session regarding the financial, the risk management aspects of the report, I need you to keep those items confidential. Anything that's appropriate for open, we'll open that for this session of the meeting, but please, anything in that confidential report needs to remain confidential. Council, I'm going to read a motion. Once I read the motion, I'm going to ask for a mover and a seconder. That'll open up for debate, and then we'll open up for comments and questions and clarity, okay? The motion reads that the proposal provided by the Ontario Clean Water Agency, ACWA, for the supply of operations, maintenance, and management of water and wastewater treatment facilities be endorsed, and that the Chief Administrative Officer be directed to advise staff of Council's intent to transfer the operations of water and wastewater to ACWA, and further, that staff be directed to continue to work with ACWA to bring forward, as soon as possible, the authorizing bylaw and corresponding service agreement for council consideration. And finally, that the communications plan outlined within the staff report ENG 2026-04 be implemented. I'm going to look for a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Vatabankar, seconded by Councillor Waters. I'm going to open up for comments and questions and further debate. Floor is open. Councillor Leroux.
Question through to the director. Brian, it's well known that in the next number of years, we will have quite a number of new homes coming on board. What is our water meter policy now, and how is it going to be handled if we outsource?
Through you, Your Worship, to Councillor Leroux, there will be no change in our water meter system, both existing and proposed. So there'll be no change in the water meter reading operations.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Follow up, are you good, Councillor Leroux? Council, further comments or questions? Councillor Waters.
Should we decide to go with the ACWA at the end of the contract, what would our options be? Would we be going back to an in-house system, or is there another system similar to ACWA that we could utilize?
Thanks for the question. CEO Lees, I'm going to ask you if you can take that question. What's our options at the end of the contract term, and at renewal, what options are afforded to the municipality?
Thank you, Your Worship. Really, at the end of the term of the initial contract, the municipality would enter into contract negotiations. Should council proceed with Aqua, then it would be Aqua as the provider. But certainly, council would have other options to explore should they wish. Aqua is not the only entity in this, in this business. And then, of course, there would, of course, be an option should council wish to revert back to the status quo, which is today.
Thank you, council. Further comments or questions? Councillor Vadronker.
Thank you, Worship. I want to start by thanking the staff team for their work in preparing the report. It's very thorough. It goes through a lot of detail, and the methodology that's put forward, I can find no quarrel with it. The criteria, the weighting system, the evaluation of the two options, everything was done top notch. So I just wanted to compliment staff on that. I think as a report, this is an excellent piece of work, and I think it should stay on our website so that people can refer to it going forward. With respect to the proposal before us, I spent 17 years of my career with the town of Wasaga Beach. I was the chief administrative officer there. And during that period of time, we had Aqua operate the sewage treatment plant and the water treatment systems. The staff maintained the sanitary collection system and the water collection system. Very similar to what's being proposed here, except that Aqua would take over the water distribution system as well as the water treatment system. I can honestly say, and it's been mentioned in this report, that the town was very satisfied with the service provided by Aqua. Very professional, knowledgeable staff, access to their senior employees across the province in dealing with matters that came up that were beyond the scope of just the local operation. So from that standpoint, and looking at Aqua as being a public alternative to providing public services by the town of Penetanguishene, I see that going forward that this is a good fit. In the report outlines the various criteria and how they were evaluated, and it talks about how our current employees will be provided the opportunity to transfer into Aqua. And I think that answers a question that was asked earlier. I think there's an opportunity there from an employee standpoint, I think, for greater advancement, more opportunities for training. I think it'll be a very positive thing for our employees. Having said all that, and if you look at the report, and particularly when you look at the part about near the end, and it's very much near the end, because I think it's important to factor, because obviously costs are important. But moving forward with Aqua, there is a savings to the municipality over a 5-year period. And as a member of council, in terms of trying to look after the tax dollars and the rate dollars paid by the residents of Penetanguishene, I think it's very important to consider that as well. But that's not the end all be all. I think going forward as an organization and dealing and providing a service that as council, we can be satisfied that the service provider is providing a level of service equal to what is being currently provided or better, I think this is the way to go. So, Your Worship, I will be supporting the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Vandenbunker. Further comments or questions? Councillor Marshall.
Thank you, Your Worship. I had commented earlier on the depth and scope of the report, and certainly do appreciate all the time that was put in. Appreciated the thoroughness, the evaluation, and how we look at things. I'm struggling first and foremost as a council member for the town of Penetanguishene to look at outsourcing a service that I feel that we've continued to maintain. We have dedicated staff, and our reporting demonstrates that. When we looked at the comparison model, I understand that there's HR and labor issues. I think those will exist in terms of HR finding human resources. I think that will exist in this particular segment and operation, both for us and for Aqua and other municipalities as well. I think that is genuinely a piece. We talk about we're undergoing rebranding. We're talking about a community, and community takes care of each other. That means our staff and our people too. And I look at both pieces, and I don't see this overwhelming gain in terms of going to Aqua as much as I think there is, we kind of keep being led to various points that demonstrates that. And for me, I'm really struggling to support the outsourcing piece. My concern is never being able to possibly, I shouldn't say never, but the ability to bring that back, because certainly those were different things that were supported. Cost savings is important from a tax-based perspective. And, I took on the role of becoming a council member because I believe in the community, I believe in the people in this community, and I believe in the people that work for this municipality as well. And so thorough report. I've spent a lot of time on this, and I do appreciate everything that's gone into it, but I'm not going to be supporting the motion that's being put before us tonight. I think that there's things that we can continue to do in terms of looking at services and working collectively with within our partners and other pieces. So I do appreciate all of the work that's gone into this, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's just about cost savings. It is about our community and our people that are in it and the people that work for us as well.
Thank you, Councillor Marshall. Further comments or questions? Okay, a couple final comments from myself. This is an important community conversation. I think this conversation has some parallels to when we went down the same path regarding policing. I think it was very similar to our policing discussion we had. And I think there was some upset members when we decided to disband Penetanguishene Police Force and move to the Ontario Provincial Police. I'll tell you today, there's no way we could have the Penetanguishene Police Force. I think as a municipality, we've looked back and we couldn't deliver the level of service that's required today as required under provincial regulations and staffing and everything else, that there's no way we'd be able to do that today. That the level of service we receive from the Ontario Provincial Police, we wouldn't be able to meet that. And I use that as a parallel. I would echo Councillor Marchand's comments about our community, but I also believe this is not about our existing staff. This is not about our existing ability to deliver what we do. It's about our future. And our future is really about maintaining and delivering safe drinking water and making sure that the infrastructure is working for the community into the future. And I think there's been some narratives used that's not representative of what the scope of this report and process was. So months ago, when council asked staff to evaluate options, there was an opportunity to look at another third party who is a for-profit agency. And we said we didn't want to go with a for-profit agency. We wanted to go with the not-for-profit agency, the public entity, which Councillor Vandenbunker spoke about a while ago. I think that's important because Aqua is not making money for their shareholders. And I think that there's a bit of a parallel that we need to be clear on, that that's what they do. Like, this is their subject matter expertise. I think this proposal provides ongoing commitment and investment in our community and staff, as was identified in the report, about the transition and the plan to be able to provide continuity for generations to come. And we want to look at that from that perspective. What is best for our people? Our people is our staff, it's our community, it's our residents. We want to maintain safety of our system and safety for the program as we move forward. Councillor Vadaboncourt talked about the financial piece, but I think the financial piece at the end of the day is a smaller piece because it's about the ongoing continuity of the system. I also want to highlight, we had some questions. I want to reflect back on questions that's asked, but there was a comment tonight about that, this should be like a town question. We should make this on like a ballot idea with the town. And there's lots of decisions that we make that when people are interested in the decision, they come and be part of that question. But I would argue everyone here tonight, sitting here, is representing the community. And that's why the community brought us here. We're here to represent your interests. And I would argue we've all put lots of time into looking at all variables and all sides. What's the upside? What's the downside? What's the pros and what's the cons? I can tell you from my lens, I feel very confident that the best thing for the community moving forward is moving forward the recommendation with Aqua. I had a conversation with Mayor Ted Walker from the township of Tay Township. And I asked Mayor Walker what their journey was like with Aqua. And I asked, if you had to go back in time, would you have made the same decision? Or would you have made a U-turn? What would you have done differently? And he said, undeniably, without a doubt, for sure they would do it. And as we talked about that, I kind of was resonating on our OPP journey, that there's always going to be growing pains. There's always going to be a little tweaking and understanding, but it was the right thing to do. And he really reassured me that it was the right thing to do. So with that, I will be supporting this. And council, final comments or questions? I just want to also highlight something that Councillor Vadaboncourt and Councillor Marchand said. Mr. Lees, to you and your senior team, I started tonight by saying, I think we gave you a pretty difficult task, like almost impossible to do, but I think everything was answered. Everything that we asked was answered. I think there was a tremendous amount of work, and maybe we all didn't look at the scope and how big of a project this was, but thanks for the work that went into this. I know every member of the team spent considerable amount of effort, and really the effort was to do what was best for the community. So to you and your entire team that contributed to that, I want to thank you for helping us get here and bringing it forward. And I just want to end by saying to everyone, again, this has been a 10-year journey. Like, we started this conversation 2016. And there's been lots of reports and lots of information that we've all looked at, and I feel confident we're making the right decision. Madam Clerk, we have a mover, we have a seconder. I've read the motion with no final comments or questions. I'm going to question. Councillor Marchand.
May I please ask for a recorded vote?
You sure can. Recorded vote's been called by Councillor Marchand. Madam Clerk, I'll pass it to you, but I believe we start with the person that called it, and then you'll go from there.
Thank you, Your Worship. Do you mind if I just take a moment?
For sure.
Thank you, Your Worship. Sorry. All right, I'm going to begin with Councillor Marchand. If you can give a yes or a no. Thank you.
No.
Councillor Waters.
Yes.
Councillor Durush.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor LaRose.
Yes.
Councillor Vadaboncourt.
Yes.
Councillor Leroux.
No.
Mayor Rawson.
Yes?
Thank you. That is carried.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tonight, Council made an important decision about how Penetanguishene will continue to deliver safe, reliable water and wastewater services for our community. This decision follows a thorough operational review and was guided by long-term service reliability, regulatory compliance, financial sustainability, and support for our dedicated staff. By moving forward with the Ontario Clean Water Agency, we are strengthening our ability to deliver essential services in the face of growing labor challenges across the sector, while maintaining local ownership and oversight of our infrastructure. I want to be very clear that this is not privatization. The town will continue to own its systems, provide local oversight, and remain accountable to residents. I also want to emphasize that supporting our employees has been a priority throughout this process. The town will work with Aqua to facilitate employee transfer agreements that recognize existing service, benefits, vacation entitlements, and pension contributions, supporting continuity of employment and a smooth transition. We will continue to keep our community informed as next steps move forward. And with that, Council, I'm going to look for a motion to adjourn at 9 p.m. It's moved by Councillor Drush, seconded by Councillor Marshall. All in favor? And we're adjourned.